Alrighty, let's do this.
One.
So first thing about your
Attacker
position is
incoming.
it's really exposed and you don't have any natural cover.
Stop the payload.
This guy is not in a good position. So on this map, you either hold like in this general area, like this corner kind of area, or you like play all the way back for here, right? And you can do both, right? Like you can take a fight here more aggressively and then retake from over here, right? Alternatively, you can play like the arch. The arch is kind of rough though and pretty easy to flank. Has a lot of problems and it's kind of hard to actually play, but it's not actually that bad compared to a lot of other spots. This map in general, like this point, is pretty attacker favored unless like you do very specific things like spawn camp, which you can do. But unless you're planning a spawn camp, this is too far forward because like the soldier's way out of position, for example. But like if you stand here, in order to like peek, you're gonna have to just dump DM, and then like what are your escape options, right? You can drop, which still doesn't change your LOS problems, right? Or you can try and get all the way over here, which like does change your LOS problems, but it does look how far away this is, right? So if you want to scout, do it from here, and then you drop, and you're fine, right? You're chilling. Like in 2 seconds, the DM is not enough to get away from here. So in order to like finish scouting here, you'd have to fly away, right? So that makes sense.
Be careful out there.
So like you're taking a ton of pressure trying to get out of this spot. If you see like DPS sitting by themselves, I'm sure you saw this in the Yeetle video, but you can just fly at them, go kill them, right? Or at least like force them out, right? So if you so be careful of burning missiles when you don't have to, because missiles are how you like win 1v1s. So right here, you didn't have to get like I don't know 3 or 4% or so at most, right? But now because you have missiles, it's flying this guy becomes a lot harder. But if you did have missiles, you could just literally just like turn, fly at him, hit E, and then like hit, right click, and you would just like knock him all the way out, right? And he would either like die if he doesn't get help, right, from the Ana, or you push him out, right? Either of which are good things because remember when you get here, you can just drop, and you're totally fine, right? You're in a healer, LOS, things like that, right? You realize it's kind of late though, and you also again like you burn missiles too early. And remember, like when you want to get out, right? Your way of getting out is like you push them up to this point, and then you either kill them or you drop, right? There's no sliding over here because again, yellow heroes can't help you here. If you do want to go this way, then you're committing to like flanking and getting all the way out, right? Because coming back across the LOS is really risky and really hard. Get stuck here, like just go all the way around.
I'm being attacked. Bailing out.
And the apple.
Check out. Behind you.
One thing you really want to get in the not in the habit, but like comfortable doing, is just boosting forward. Boosting forward, and then just like 180 and going and like maintaining your boost, right? Boosting isn't one directional. You like your boost gives you the ability to like change direction multiple times.
Get into position.
You should probably try and boost forward at least a little bit to try and like DM that hook, because a big part of D.Va's value isn't just denying hooks. There's a game that Yeetle plays, I think it's like Dorado. It's like the second or third map where like all he does is shut down hooks, and it's like really, it's pretty interesting to see. And I'm referencing that video because I sent it to you, and like that way you have a frame of reference of what we're talking about. You're just standing too far in the open, right? Like, despite the fact that like you feel like you have like range and like you have mobility, right? You're still like a tank, right? And your range is actually very short, right? So in reality, you'd much rather be like right here, hugging this wall and making it difficult to come shoot you, right? You want the McCree to come all the way out here to shoot you, and then if you feel like he's overstepped, you can just fly into him and kill him, right? Alternatively, by being closer to here, you can turn around and if somebody comes from this side, you're way closer in range and your ability to respond to them, right? Being on the open just doesn't have any benefits, right? And you just take more damage for it for no reason. But if you're here, like the hog comes out, you hook somebody, you just DM it, and you're like, haha, I'm close. I don't even have to fly anywhere or react very fast.
Heroes never die. I think this takes them a little under.
when you fly at someone, you want to blow them up, right? You open with missiles, right? You fly at them, there's missiles here, right? It just comes off cooldown as well. Just remember, it's a big part of your damage. So I think you said you wanted to skip most of the first part. First part of the map, squishable second part was much better. Alright, so let's go down. Let's skip ahead a bit so we don't run too long on this.
This is not your turn.
Wow, they made it very fast. I assume this is the second half. So let's start from here. Alright, so number one thing. So, okay, I don't say number one thing because Dio has a lot of responsibilities in situations like this, right? So, they have a McCree, they have a Tracer, right? They have an Ana, and they have a Roadhog, right? So, what does that mean? It means that the McCree is your responsibility if he's on the high ground by himself. The Tracer is also your responsibility if she is in your backline, right? Just pretty much and whatever, right? The Hog is your responsibility to deny, right? You're supposed to also eat every Diva orb, or not Diva, Moira orb, and as many of Ana's cooldowns as you can. Also DM or healing when we're trying to focus targets. And on top of that, you need to control high ground by yourself because your team doesn't have high ground control, controlling heroes. And you also need to make sure card, because of where the card is, you need to make sure that your team doesn't C9 because card is also your duty. So if that sounds like a lot, it is, and this is why like off tank is really hard, and why like there's so much to criticize. But like on the other hand, like being good at off tank means that like all of these duties get covered, right? Like both our DPS are like you handle them by yourself. You handle the Moira, like you negate half the Moira's value, and you make sure that the Honor can't burst heal people when you're trying to kill them. You deny this, you make this Hog not a hero, right? There's so many things you can do it when you're really good at off tank, right? Especially like really flexible ones like Diva or Sig. So yeah, I know it's hard, but there's a lot of stuff you can do here. So Matrix usage is a little questionable here already. So not sure what this DM is, but bar before getting to this point. You are late to react mostly because of the cooldown that from holding it randomly. And now you get to this point, Tracer's going in, and you have no DM, right? So your Tracer died here, I wouldn't be surprised, but your Tracer lives. You want to bomb here probably to alleviate the pressure. Or just give your team out for dead, right? Just assume they're all going to die. Go take the high ground and get set for the recontest, right? Because somebody's going to have to touch, and you have bombs, so that's a pretty good option to recontest. Bomb, okay, not good. Oh, yeah, okay. They all died today. You gotta react faster. You've had boosters this entire time? Actually, no. When did you use boosters? Alright, so this is just over-aggression, right? So your Ryan is handling a Tracer on this side. So because your Ryan is not on card, card is now your job, right? And you have to know, and what else is there going on, right? These guys are trying to heal like a Tracer who doesn't need healing, right? So these guys not a concern to you. They don't even do damage, right? This guy is very concerning to you. He does a lot of damage, but he's not in a strong position to do damage, right? So at this point, all you need to do is stabilize the situation, right? Your team you just got 2 kills for your team. So as long as your team stays alive, you guys are gonna win because your spawn is so close, right? So in this situation, back against the wall, you just need to you just need to stabilize the card, right? Just stall it out while your Ryan handles his problems and your supports like help him out, right? You just chill out here, and then save cooldowns for when you need to commit, right? But boosting in to knock the Ana back is really not very helpful. Plus it locks you into position, and then you compound this by like jumping into them, right? So you like hold in CM, jump in, you look up the damage take, right? You actually lost your entire mech, right? So the time it took you to get from here to here, you lost your entire mech, right? And this is why it's so important, like even while having like half a bar DM at this point, right? And this is why it's so important just like not overextend on Diva, because like Diva is like, she's not made of tissue, but if you take too much aggro at the same time, right? There's no amount of healing in the world that can save you, right? So in this case, there's no reason to overextend like this, like to push into them, and on top of that, like the relative impact of extending into them like that was relatively minimal, right? Because your Ryan It's still handling his tracer issues. But like you cutting off the healers really didn't change anything. All you need to do is camp behind the cart. If any of them try to walk forward, you boost forward, knock them back, and boost back, right? And then you just chill behind the cart and maybe DM if they're trying to throw like projectiles at your Ryan from across the side, right? And you just chill here. You don't have to do anything, right? Don't need to force anything. So because you already used your bomb, the play here, as soon as you stabilize, is to actually just run back into spawn, swap to another random tank, then swap back onto D.Va. And that way you'll get your mech back. It costs you ult charge, but you don't have any damage. If someone gets hooked right now, it's kind of annoying. Because the entire time, like, still has mech. Alright, you got your mech back.
All systems checked out.
Alright, so you should go high ground.
Now show them. You need the doctor.
Game's got your spare's got handled. So like again, unless you're like these guys are extending, but like unless they're being stupid, like don't follow them. Just go take the high ground, and then from there you can make a decision, right? And if it turns out there's a tracer up here, you can DM the tracer and then start shooting her between clips, right? The way you handle that matchup is like literally like your DM cooldown's 1 second and tracer's reload is 1 second. So what you do is you DM her clip, and then you start shooting her, and then you start DMing as soon as she starts shooting again, and you can just time it and make her really really sad. The only thing you have to watch out for is pulse bombing. She can try to like pulse bomb at the end of a clip. She can try to mix up the pulse bomb timing based on like if you're too predictable with your DM timings. She might throw the pulse bomb at an odd time, and then like when you're expecting her to be reloading, and then she just kills your target, right? Or kills the person trying to defend. But for the most part, you don't really have to worry about that for most of the tracers we'll be playing against. You just gotta DM their clips, right?
Routing tower forward barrier.
And the reason I say that, by the way, I forgot to mention, is because your DM range is actually very short now. Unfortunately, I miss old DM. Bring it back, please, Papa Jeff. But if you look at when you try to DM this Pharah, you're nowhere close to her, right? Like this cone is just nowhere close. So if this tracer would try to kill your Pharah and shot at her, she would just die, right? That's just the unfortunate reality of D.Va now. You need to be a lot closer to teammates. So if you boost it up, there'd be no question that like this DM would hit.
Routing tower forward barrier.
Also, you get to shoot a lot easier from the high ground. Like, I mean, not this, but like if they're trying to walk underneath you and you're just sitting here shooting, like it's just a pain to deal with. They hook you, just fly back up. This is one of the cases where micro boosting is okay, where you just boost in like 2 steps just to get your DM in front of your Ryan before he like as he's charging, and that way he doesn't get like slept mid charge or something, like at the very end of his charge, and then purpled and blah blah blah, you know. Then if you're on high ground, obviously you're hanging out over here and helping your Ryan, but like as soon as that's over, just go take high ground again, right? And when you're on high ground, then like if that guy gets hooked, you can potentially boost down, mini boost, like catch that with their DM and then drop, right? Always be ready. Always like check where the hog is. Try to find like if you're on DM, you can boost into him, preferably from like either from the front or from the side, and that'll potentially mess up his shot. As well, his follow-up shot.
Get through this. Double. MVP. D.Va. I'm gonna shoot you down.
Now this tracer's not very good, so you don't have to worry about it too much. But like higher level traces will tear your backline apart if you give them even 2 to 3 free clips. So just be super aware of tracers, and as soon as you hear tracers, just like flick your DM up. Just flick your DM up onto your backline, and then reassess from there. Like obviously don't hold your DM, right? Again, tracer only has 1 second clips, so you just need to like flash your DM and drop it, and then flash it again, right? Yeah, that's like the standard way of playing against a tracer.
Event mix activated.
Bar right now, so you're a lot of time. And in the meantime, you should take aggro. Like even if you do nothing with the high ground except drop down, at least you took the high ground, right? That DM is like way too far. I mean, you can't help this Tracer, so like don't try. She's way too deep. Um, you can help her escape, but you can't like you should go in to help her, right? But that said, like just like look how far your DM is from your like the person you're trying to help. Like I like the effort to DM this. So like yeah, you need like another like 8 meters on this DM.
Rocket barrage
Okay,
incoming.
so if you see your fire barrage like this, first step is fly at her, and then put your DM up, right? And then in order to maintain, so if she's in range of you, like just put your DM up on this far. As soon as she starts barraging, put it up for 2 seconds, and then fly into her, to like put your hitbox like on top of her, so that way she doesn't get hit, right? And that's how you have a much increase your chances of your fire's barrage succeeding by a lot, right? So DM first, as soon as you get close enough, or if you're not getting close, to just fly at the DM, fly at it, and then just get your 2 seconds of DM. That's all you can really contribute, right? So fly, DM 2 seconds, you're done, right? Or if you're close enough, DM for 2 seconds, then fly to cover the remainder, right? And just get something you need to get. Yeah, I mentioned earlier, but something you need to get comfortable with is the idea of just like 180 mid-fly, right? Just like fly right, fly away, right? And this way you walk in, you fly in front of the hitbox and then behind the hitbox, and you'll cover all your bases, right? So here is one of the situations where I was talking about where like you're not committal enough when you are going in. So this I don't know if you don't feel comfortable tracking at this range, but like you finish your boost, right? And you're in the middle of the enemy team, and this is good. Your team is winning by a lot. You're up 2 kills, right? And your team is like ulting. But you see how like you just start backing up, and like and start DMing. Like the DM is fine, but you gotta keep walking forward, right? You're trying to kill them. Here, you get to this point, and you're backing even further away, right? Your whole team's going in, right? Like pretty much whole team's going in. I don't know where your fire is. Okay, your whole team's going in, and you're just kind of backing out, right? And you're full health, like nothing's going to kill you. You're pretty much invincible in these situations. Just gotta keep going. See, now the problem is now you've boosted in, and now like if like we can't get these kills, you're gonna lose your mech because you have no escape, right? So you just walk in. If you feel like you're getting low, boost out, right? Or boost to high ground, you know, the usual, right? Warrior has nothing to DM except orb, so you can just wait until you see the orb before you DM.
Easy.
Pretty much always bomb this to get your mech back. Playing without mech here is really hard. The only time you shouldn't is if like your team will guaranteed have time to like A, your team will escape once you die, and B, your team has time to regroup for another fight, right? But if you bomb this, like I think both those conditions are met here. But if you bomb this, I wouldn't care, right? This bomb's okay. But if you're not gonna bomb, you have to die, right? You have to die really fast and tell your team to leave you. Because what's gonna happen is you're gonna bait your team to a bad fight. Yeah, your Mercy's dying. Yeah. And now you're in a situation where like sort of created like a chain feed, right? And so the bomb at the bare minimum prevents that chain feed from happening because you'll get your mech back and you'll leave, right?
Extra life!
You don't have to get any kills, you just need the mech.
I'm gonna have
Because
to
when you're,
shoot you
so the way
down!
to think about it is like mech is like your normal hero, and Baby Diva is like the liability. so like if you lost mech, like you're effectively like less than a hero because your team needs to like help you out, and you're also not responding in this time, right? If your hero was the mech, you wouldn't be able to you would be responding normally and you'd be coming back, right? So time you spend like out of mech, just standing there, is time that like your team is effectively just down a hero, right? And because they want to support you to help you get your mech back, they'll play close to you and they won't like leave you behind, right? So yeah, don't be afraid to bomb to remech. It's good. Don't be afraid to walk at this Zarya. Like Zarya like is not very range dependent, right? So whatever range she's beaming you at, if she can beam you, she's doing max damage, right? Whereas you have a shotgun, so you want to be as close as possible. So don't be afraid to just walk into her or even boost into her, right? You can get bonus damage off the boost plus melee. There's even like melee boost tech. I don't think you need to know that yet. It's more of on the advanced side. But like, yeah, if you just boost into her and then start shotgunning in their face, right? Like, you'll do way more damage, right? Instead of letting her do that. like a couple 15. Right? So she dies anyways, which is good. But she's still like, it was still like, you should still like fly into her, right? If you're not sure how to like, if you feel like that's overextending, like you're worried about overextending, right? It's not. But if you were worried, you fly into her, right? You boost up, right? You land on the high ground, and this whole time, like, so you fly, shoot, kick up for a second, and then turn up, like flick down, start shooting at her again as you land on this thing, shoot, and then if like you want to chase, then you drop after her, right? And the time it takes for you to like your fly to end here, so your flight ends here, and then you drop for a second, and then as you're shooting, then you drop again, right? And by the time you land here, you've only got like 2.5 seconds left on your boosters, as opposed to like boosting into her, like shooting, and then having 4 seconds left, right? So, and in the meantime, because you're above her, you're landing like almost entirely headshots, right? And it's super easy and it's super efficient. It sounds complicated, but in reality, just like it's literally just like boost in, shoot, flick up, and then like cancel the boost, like let go of the boost. I use hold the booster, hold the boost. I know the default I think is like, yeah, I think default is toggle boosters. I really don't recommend it. It may take a while to get used to for hold the boosters, but I do think it gives you a lot more control over it. Yeah, so like literally, I press and hold shift here. I'm pressing and holding left click, right? And then as soon as I get as soon as I boop her into the wall, really, I flick up, and then as I go up for about a second, and then I let go of boosters, like let go of shift, then then literally just flick down, right? And then I start shooting again as I fall, right? And it's super easy. I'll provide an example. Yeah, so side note, if you push them out on this side, you're worried about a possible flank on this side, just fly up, and as you fly up, you'll gain vision of everything around here, right? And you'll see the flank happening, right? Also, again, you want to be moving towards the tracer, not away from the tracer, because you're the main anti-tracer hero, right? Like, you might think Brig counters tracer, but no, D.Va's the real counter to tracer. D.Va's the counter to almost everything, by the way.
60 seconds.
Also, this map in general, like throwing bombs over this like windmill is actually really strong in general. People are never ready for it. So if you just threw it like, I mean, I'm not saying throw a bomb right now, but like if you threw a bomb like as the fight's about to start, you just go stand here and then throw the bomb over here as they're like running into cart. Like it's actually a really strong bomb. Yeah, you spend a lot of time spamming in like pre-firing tracers, or just pre-firing in general. Like as D.Va, you have the ability to just like walk around, see somebody, start shooting them, they shoot back at you, DM and leave, right? You have a lot of control over like the exact terms of the engagement as D.Va. So you don't need to like pre-fire because pre-firing makes you walk slow. So yeah, walking slow is bad. So don't pre-fire if you don't have to. Pre-firing is okay in certain situations, but it's not that good.
Time to raise my APM. Nerf this.
Good bomb, I think.
I'm on fire. I'm back in the fight.
Thanks. 30 seconds remaining.
Greetings. They're almost out of time. Hold on and we
Pulse
win.
bomb charging.
So bit of an advanced thing, but you always want to end your fly a little high, right? So instead of like landing on something, right, which you can, but instead of landing something, try like just like boosting up, and then like letting the boosters go a little early, right, and letting your momentum just like carry you onto the platform, right, and that way like you'll save some time off your boosters by ending a little early, as well as like gaining like in the time where you spend falling, you're getting like or like landing on the thing, you're getting your boosters back, right? So it's a little micro thing, but it ends up adding up. So. Also, remember, do this if you want to push up for ult charge or whatever. Do it early, right? Don't do it like late. Like literally, just walk up here, boost up here, throw some bombs, right? Some missiles, and then drop off, right, and leave, right? That way you'll get like another like 10 to 15% more ult. 10 to 15 is maybe too much, but like like 4 to 5% more ult, which is not bad. So remember, like if you get stuck here when the enemy team is walking out, you're in a rough spot because your next retreat path is literally boosting all the way out. So again, if you want to scout, right, do it safely, right? Don't do it here. Do it over here. And as they jump out, then like you're really close to the windmill, and you just cross the windmill with some DM, right? Or just like you get the idea. Oh, Widow.
10 seconds.
Yeah, do you see how you did 16 fire there, right there? Now, I know you probably felt pretty good about this. Oh my god, I didn't go far enough back. I still didn't go far enough back.
Sniper, don't get caught.
So I know you felt pretty good about this, but 16 fire is very, very little, because 11 fire is base. It's the bare minimum you can get. So you did about, like, I don't know, like maybe 20 damage? um, so, yeah. Like, don't get me wrong, like, the chaos and stuff like that is definitely good, but just keep in mind that, like, the relative value you got from this position was fairly low, right? And plus you were DMing you instead of, like, a teammate, so as a result, the Widow takes the shot, kills somebody. And so, like, you weren't really adding much. Whereas if you're here, right, like, you just DM your pharmacy as they shoot, right? And then they'll, like, it's the same idea, except no one dies, right, on your team. Oh, I like this. That was really good. You boosted in, knocked them back, right, got some damage in, and then boosted back and landed on the high ground. This is what I want to see a lot more of. This was really good.
Victory.
Alright, so in conclusion, most important things for you are just getting comfortable. Oh, I need to show you the tech. So get really comfortable with just like flicking DM.
I'm gonna have to shoot you down.
It has a little catches anything as long as you
Routing
touch
power
it.
to
So,
forward
like, you
shield.
can pick one around. Again, like damage this way is really bad, but damage like point blank range is really good.
Taking off.
Oh my god, I haven't played in a while. So with D.Va, get really comfortable. Like say like if there's a guy here I want to push, but I don't want to hit, right? Just really push
Get
that
through
180, right? Jumping, by the way, is like is really good on D.Va compared to a lot of other characters because if you walk, you're really loud, right? But jumping is relatively quiet because you just jump out of the it's just like one loud plank every little bit, right? So it's relatively good for that. On top of that, like a lot of characters, like jumping like makes their hitbox kind of easy to hit, right? But D.Va's not super worried about getting shot because like if you can get hit by them and get a headshot, like you're gonna get a headshot. Like jumping doesn't really change that. And you can also just like boost out of jumping, which is really nice. And you can use that to extend airtime, right? So like if I want to go really far, I can like jump and then boost, right? And I can still go really far, right? And again, high ground, you can still do a lot of damage. You land mostly headshots, it's really good. You make Zarya's really visible, just sitting above the team. I can't do anything about it. Was also a good thing. Oh yeah, if you want to, this is your damage combo more or less, right? Kind of explode, right? And again, you never have to commit on any of this, right? So if like, it turns out that like you don't like what's going on up there, right? You just fly them. Right. So, hang on. Let's go for this guy, right? So I'm committing on him. I don't like what's going on. Again, I'm right back on high ground, right? I'm right back where I started. One last thing is you can actually yeah. So like again, oh yeah, on the flight. So if I want to get to the high ground, I don't fly like this, right? I don't land on this thing, right? Because then I have to wait for my cooldown. So what I do instead is like I literally just go up.
Boosters engaged.
I messed it up. Hang on. Right. And now I land on this, and my cooldown's already starting, right? What other type was I going to talk about? Oh, this is more of an advanced thing, but you can cancel melee with boosters. Boosters also do 10 damage, so it does that's 35 total damage. Or no, sorry. It's 40 total damage. Sorry. And on top of that, you can cancel your boosters with melee, right? So one thing that you can do, for example, is if like you're fighting somebody, go like this, right? That'll like extend your combo essentially, right? So I can follow this guy. Yeah.
Don't mess with me.
And it's just really efficient.
Double kill.
So yeah, big things. Don't be afraid to use bombs in TMAC. Your bombs in the game towards the end looked really good. You were throwing them more, you were putting them into an overall placement was really good. And the timing was also really good. I think you could do generally a little bit earlier in the fight. But like the actual like placement, the timing, and like the decision on when to use bombs was not bad. Yeah, just remember that Diva is like the attack dog, so if there's anybody you feel like is out of position, you can just commit on them, right? And obviously you can learn from this, right? So like you play some quick play or some comp, and you just go int on someone, right? And you go kill them, and maybe sometimes they start killing you, and instead of you killing them, and you start to learn that like again, you can't learn if you don't try, right? So just like attack everything for a while, see what you can get away with, right? And then you'll figure out pretty quickly like when something is suicidal versus when it's really good, right? And then you start to understand more about like attention, right? So like if I maybe going to kill this guy so easy because I don't know, his head hitbox is massive like this guy, but like his healer is watching him, right? So as you try to kill him, he's getting healed and he lives, right? But then another time you go for him and his healer isn't looking for him, and you just blow them up, right? Just like unload, right? So just keep that in mind. Like, healer attention matters a lot when you're going for assassination. And the guy is how alone is that guy? How much help can he get, right? Yeah, try to play closer to teammates, try to play closer to high ground, try to play on high ground, and then try to control, like, try to get better at, like, maximizing DM usage. Just really get comfortable just, like, swiping, right? If you're not sure how to eat a Mei ult, all you literally have to do is sit with your team before the Mei ult happens, or sit high ground or something, and as soon as you hear the Blizzard voice line, just, like, flick your DM, and you'll probably catch it. It, like, actually works. What else? I don't really have a tracer I can demonstrate. But like, yeah, tracer matchup is really important for Diva. It's literally just like DM for a second, shoot. DM for a second, shoot. Right? It's kind of that.
Enemy down!
Sort of the premise of it. If you have any questions or anything, let me know. I probably forgot something with the summary, so you know, if there's anything you want clarification on, yeah, just DM me. Yeah, that's that.